moving forward.
Aloha, everyone. Back for more, and you know what's in store. The Maui Local this time. First, announcements. You know, last time I mentioned that show Bent coming up at ProArts, but there's something after it. And why do I mention something so far out? Because you might be a part of this, and you may need to train. Because the 2022 Maui Beatbox Championship is coming to ProArts Maui Saturday, November 19th at high noon. That's right, open elimination beatbox battle beginning with the elimination round and moving to the semifinals and eventually finals in the battle format with a $100 cash prize and bragging rights to the winner. Tickets will be $15. 90 minutes, no intermission. Get your skills together, kids. All right. Meanwhile, Maui on stage. We all know that Rocky Horror Show is going on, but from what I hear, it's like practically sold out, kids. But you know what you can get your tickets for in the meantime? Coming November 10th through the 13th, Misery, directed by Ricky Jones, all right? Based on the novel by quintessential horror writer Stephen King, Misery tells the story of novelist Paul Sheldon as he transitions from writing historical romances featuring heroine Misery Chastain to publishing literary fiction. Annie Wilkes, Sheldon's #1 fan, rescues the author from the scene of a car accident. The former nurse takes care of him in her remote house but becomes irate when she discovers that the author has killed Misery off in his latest book. Annie keeps Sheldon prisoner while forcing him to write a book that brings Misery back to life. Content warning, there's adult content and language, simulated violence, gunshots. Definitely not recommended for children. But, you know, this is a heavy show. So, like, 3 days opportunity to get, you know, like, your head messed with a story like this. And you could check out the book in advance, kids. All right? Meanwhile, Haleakalā National Park is now accepting applications for commercial guided astronomy and hiking tours to be conducted in the park under commercial use authorizations. All applications must be received by the park on November 18th by 4 p.m. 4 astronomy tour permits and 6 guided hiking tour permits are available and will be valid for 2 years up till December 2024. A multi-step selection process will be used by the National Park Service. To obtain an application and additional information about this business opportunity, go online to www.sam.gov. All right. You can also contact, there's an email in there. And you know what? I'm going to put both of those in the show notes. I mean, hey, guys, make a little side hustle cash doing hike tours, giving them all the knowledge of the stars. There should be somebody up there representing us. I mean, like, I don't know all of them. I'm sure there's some bright individual on this island that has to act together enough to go fill out one of these forms, maybe make some ducats and represent our people up there on the mount. All right? So take advantage of this opportunity. We don't all have to be working 9-to-5 jobs. This is a hustle right there. Get on it. All right. So announcements aside. Biggest thing this week, Maui County Council has passed Bill 159. Now, there's been a little contention over this because of one of the things that, like, it was in that bill, all right? The hotel moratorium. Now, this thing finalizes, which probably will, it's going to be repealed. Came into law earlier in the year, and that was already a hot issue to make it happen. It put a moratorium on transient units for 2 years. And it was, you know, it was really just there to hold things down until they could get better recommendations and investigate things. Now, under the amended ordinance, new hotel construction or expansion would be allowed with the condition that new units, like, there's some caveats. Like, check into it. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on that because I know how much you guys' eyes peeled over when I had to read all those things that you should be voting for. I'm going to figure out how to make those smaller, crisp, to the point so you guys actually want to, like, understand it. But timeshare construction is going to be allowed in certain areas, but with conditional use permits, a lot relating to, like, sea level rise based locations. So they're really, like, bureaucratically opening it back up. It still has some, it doesn't have all of its teeth, and that's what people are angry about. But, I mean, the thing is, you know, this was a lot of work to get this into place, and I know this hurts that it's gone, okay? But this was a huge compromise in the big picture. Realistically, you can't make a moratorium last forever, but you can use them strategically to keep the beast at bay for as long as possible. I mean, no matter how hard it is to swallow, this beast was going to be set free no matter what. And it's actually for the best that the sitting council that put it in took it out, because if it got pulled under the terms of a different council after the election with a different agenda, this beast could have been upgraded with sharpened teeth. I mean, realistically, if you focus your vote on candidates aware of and fighting tourism and its exploitation, they're going to be your best bet to make more changes to tourism in the future and put a big muzzle on that beast. But if that doesn't get you fired up yet, let's talk about parking. The county is navigating how to introduce paid parking at county-operated parks and streets. All right, the Park Maui plan, as I believe it's being called, would institute a tiered system for Maui residents and non-residents with set parking rates in specific zones. Maui residents would qualify for discounted or free parking in places. I mean, shouldn't it just be free to residents no matter what? I mean, this just adds to prices and pricing us out an extra nickel at a time. I mean, especially if this is meant to mitigate parking due to increased traffic, which comes from over-tourism, it should be placed on the vacationer to pay for this, no? I mean, they have expressed that some areas will be free to residents, but I only see that being the case in lower traffic areas. And I don't see the price getting high enough to dissuade over-tourism, because it's not like it's an initial part of the equation. You know, it's something that you get when you get here, and then people go, I guess I got to pay this, you know. But they still need to make their cheddar. So, I mean, it's definitely a step in the right direction, though. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think this could be put to use well, but I think I got to put a different idea out in the ether. All right, let's go down this rabbit hole here. I'm gonna give you a silly piece of advice, and maybe if it could turn into something real, because one of you Kanakas is crazy enough, by all means, do it. You know, I just think Kanakas should be making some side hustle cash. You could make small lots on your property. Get some of that parking money. You know, don't even need 2 stories, just like 12 spaces. You know, make it like quarter mile away from wherever the excitement is, and then give your couch surfing deadbeat kid or uncle a polo shirt and a hat, you know, with a little sign that says $15 an hour or $50 a day. Watch your mortgage and taxes get paid. You're welcome. You can even partner with food trucks and a tow company, man. You know, and think about the sway you'd have at community meetings because of data from your lot attendants. You can get all business with them. I mean, it could easily become one of the many canaries in the coal mine for tracking over tourism. I mean, just think about it. Don't have to do it. I mean, but they already come in. So why not just get some of that action? Could even allow you to educate folks or be able to snitch on troubled ones. I mean, if locals took action and made private businesses that took hold of the tourism system, we could gain leverage. I mean, just don't get sucked into the dark side and turn into, you know, some restaurateur, a-hole, or hotelier that just, like, sucks the life out of the room. No, I mean, we may not be able to buy a hotel and put a wrecking ball through it, but we could put their nuts in a vice if we slowly monopolize small services and make them dependent enough to cripple anytime we wanted to. You get what I'm saying? Just something to think about. Float it, try it. You know, just be like, hey, auntie, you know, that's a lot. Go do something with it. I'm telling you. I thought about this. My family thought about it a few times. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, but some of them want to be like, yeah, let's put it in like 3 stories and have like 200. I mean, nope, not going to put that in a small ass area. But like 12 spots, you know, make some traffic, set up a coconut water stand, have your kids selling like, you know, 5-ounce cups for $5 because, you know, those rich ass continental vacationers will pay for it. Hell, man. And especially all the people from the richer countries. Just, we got to get our slice. So I'm just saying, like, as long as it's here, you can't knock the fact that it's a resource. I'm not saying that we should mine this resource and become a part of the system, but I'm saying is if Aloha is a $30 billion industry and only a micro fraction of us actually own any of that Aloha, shouldn't we be, getting in that fight? I mean, even from a private perspective, for those of you who don't want to get into politics but still want to change the community, I mean, think about it. Think about what you could do as a private business owner if you had access in a certain demographic or region of the community to make that change, because you could influence with those dollars, or you could influence with that control of the area. I'm just putting these chess pieces out there. Maybe you should think about applying them to the board, because, you could be king one day. Just saying. Moving forward.
We live in a fast-paced world where many people are too busy to sit down and read books or news articles. But thanks to Newsly, you can now listen to the news you wish you had the time to read. By utilizing AI technology, a natural human voice reads you the news, helping you grasp the information faster and more efficiently. Newsly provides the latest news updates 24/7, letting you browse articles from topics you choose. It even has podcasts, including ours. And listeners of Rabbit Holes can get their first 30 days of premium for free, allowing you to enjoy an ad-free experience by using the special promo code in our episode description. So download Newsly today for free on iOS and Android, or visit www.newsly.me so you can stay updated on the things that matter to you. Moving forward.
All right. Last but definitely not least today, announcements have been made. There's a 400-page report about it, replete with all the reasons why they want and should put this in. So without further ado, they want to put in a second telescope? I mean, they're saying they're decommissioning one, so it's time to replace it. But then they're like, let's go put this in this other place, because then it's going to give us a whole nother view of the. I mean, but why? Why? Like, I'm not even going to get this on behalf. Like, every time I go into this, like, I'm going to go from the perspective. Let's not even talk about, like, gain benefits of putting the thing there, or are people against it. We'll talk about that in a moment. But, like, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We could be putting better telescopes in space, kids. Didn't we? Like, James Webb's up there doing all that magic. Hubble still gave us stuff for how long? I mean, the tech is there. It's proving to be more and more enlightening every day. We have come a cosmically long way since Hubble, and we could be using orbit-based telescopes and deep space ones to get all that unobstructed views of the universe we want. So, like, whether you want to create a $380 million facility that's going to take, like, $60 million to implement and then fund millions of dollars a year, or we could put together a $35 million piece of space rock with a supercomputer in it and probably give them like 20 other friends, like, year after year after year after year. So, like, from the wide-eyed science fiction Jules Verne kid that I am, like, my fight for the Hawaiian people is, like, there's a whole common sense gap on technology here that, like, the universities are just swaying away from, because it's going to take away funding that they get from special interests. It's going to take away land ownership from special interests. I mean, not necessarily like ownership, but the stewardship, right? So it's like, if they're stewarding it and then someone's paying their bill, so then who's really in charge of it? You get my drift? So I'm just one. But how do all Hawaiians feel about this? I mean, I had guests that have reported that Hawaiians are pro-TMT, but I mean, I got to say, from what I experienced in person and the internet fervor and protest, that would say otherwise. I mean, how many Hawaiians were legitimately asked? How many Hawaiians are there in Hawaii that could vote or poll on this matter? And how many Hawaiians abroad could have voted on this had they been informed? Hawaiians make up 10% of the state population. That's less than 140,000 people, all right? With almost half of them being homeless, so that's approximately 70,000 people, while less than a third show up at the polls. So that's 47,000 people-ish, okay? So technically, we have more homeless Hawaiians than we have voter Hawaiians. You get me? We are on the ropes. It is seriously like seconds to midnight on how far we've been pushed. Meanwhile, there's more than 1 million of us living on the continent who still want to have a hand in helping our nation, who were thrust out of their homeland but now have the resources to mount a defense. We need to make a greater effort in unifying our voice, no matter how far apart we are. I mean, this could be that opportunity to use the resources we gained by taking the risk and living abroad to provide for our families. We could be giving patronage to practitioners and artists, tithing to churches, and supporting local politicians from our hometowns. If major corporations are carpetbagging celebrities from both parties to rule over us and using out-of-state cash to demolish paradise, then why aren't we reaching out to all the Hawaiians who wish they could still be here and doing something about it? I'd like to think we're making an impact here by starting the conversation, and I look forward to exchanging ideas on some of these thoughts this week, as I'm finally about to catch up with Maui's candidates starting tomorrow night. We'll have at least 6 up this week. Looking forward to some more as I schedule the next wave, and hoping to have time to fit in with other island candidates as I realize how helpful it can be on some of those smaller races in order for a candidate to be heard. So, I mean, even though I said I was going to try to keep it as Maui-centric to help Maui, I hear there's some rural races. So I really just, you know what, if I can fit them in, my schedule is stacked, but I want to do it for the sake of democracy, kids. They need to be heard. And thank you all. Mahalo for helping them to be heard. Thank you for following the show. Great to see more subscribers every episode. Some across the continent, some across the world. Lots of Kanakas kicking it through the DMs and talk privately. You guys all like to talk story. Like, it's interesting how many of you, like, you believe in something, but you don't want to, like, get into, like, the crazy fight because maybe you're afraid of, like, ostracizing yourself or something. You know? But, like, I hear you guys, and I'm keeping it moving. Like, it's definitely been a crazy ride, and now committing to 3 days a week as we just continue this crazy ride of rabbit holes. But just mahalo. Thank you. Take these thoughts with you today. Talk about them in your community. Get riled up and look for answers that you can provide. You know, things that you can cocoon or that you can do with help from other people. Well, until then, I look forward to catching up with you more. And we will talk next time, whether you catch me talking to candidates tomorrow or you come back for the World Report on Wednesday. Be well, everyone. Aloha.